people to understand it easier way. One in my case, that what Babaji assigned to me, that to spread the knowledge to the householders, the common people, and I have been assigned task to make it as simple as possible, like in any layman's language people can understand, without making it complicated, without going into too much into that scriptures or Vedic age, what is said and that is what is said, even into any religious text, because more and more people ventured into that, outcome become they get utterly confused, because these are sometimes the versions are when to the reader it is very what is called contradictory. And also those scriptures have been written at the prevalent time of their social norms and social uh, cultures, and to have the social benefit of it, keeping that in mind. So some of them, they are not applicable anymore. So when we go strictly follow something which is written thousands of years back, then it may create some kind of misunderstanding, some kind of get people get confused. That is why the task what is Babaji has given to go to the mass level householders in particular, who are following Grihasti Dharma, that who has, getting married, raising children, earning their own things. This category of people where I also do belong. So to spread that, so for them to liberate themselves, it's all possible. So it is, sannyas is not the only way to get enlightened or get liberation. It's even the Grihastha Dharma is also is a definitely needed, because most of the people on planet Earth are grihasthis. So it cannot be for exclusive few. It should be for the masses, and that's what the mission, as Babaji's mission that I am following. So my job is to make the things as simple as possible, so anybody can understand. It is also the truth that it's my duty is shared the truth in the simplest form. Any kind of teaching, even if I'm talking about somebody else like Gautam Buddha and all, so maybe I need to get into make the language much more accessible, understandable level. And to that thing is already I am by divine by Babaji has allowed me to do that. Means to make the meaning more clear. We may not go strictly what is written, so because as I mentioned, if we go strictly what is as per written, and then it is as per the context of that particular prevailing time, and which may not exist. So it is our duty, the masters need to make it into the form which is prevalent into the today's terminology. So we'll share the truth, but the language may differ. That's what I'm making it very clear, because it is language is not the authenticity, the proof of authenticity. The meaning is most, the truth, sharing the truth is that need to be authentic. So I'm just mentioning, sharing with you. I make sure the truth is not distorted, but the language may change. I mean, I sometimes give different examples, prevalent example, analogies, and also to make it more understanding. So that not necessarily I will follow something, the exact language and written. And because I have seen many who are lost into that, and they could not progress further on their own spiritual path. End of the day, it is your own private path you have to walk upon. Anybody else outside you can help, but they cannot walk on your behalf. So anything which creates the stumbling block, I try to remove them, even though they have a high value. There may be hundreds of years people have appreciated, but it is better not to bring them now when you started walking your spiritual journey. That's what I'm careful about. That's what I don't recommend that all these things to be discussed into this forum, because reason is that people get utterly confused. They start debating with something because they read it something somewhere or somebody told about it, and because of that channel they come and fight among themselves, which is counterproductive for individuals' spiritual progress. So that is the reason I discourage. Only thing I encourage is your own personal first-hand experience that you can share, because that is unique to you. No matter what type of explain it to them, or if that is any kind of thing is created by your mind, then I will tell them this is your mind creation, be careful. That's all. So share your own truth. No need to go into that, what others said and what is written in the scriptures, what the religious practices and all those things. Those are at this moment not important. When you attain your buddhatva, your enlightenment, then you will understand everything. That time you read all the scriptures, that time you read all, what this religion says, what Jesus Christ says, what Jainism, what the Sikhism, and all this kind of the Dharma, and all this kind of religion, Hinduism, Islam, and all, you can understand fully. But now it will create more confusion and create difference between among the people, which is completely unnecessary. World has already suffered to fight with these differences. That religious fundamentalism has been a big issue at this moment on all over the earth. Anyway, so this is the background, but I'm breaking my own this self-imposed rule in this group, and today I will be discussing about Gautam Buddha. And because not because that I try to bring the religion of Buddhism into this forum. I have if somebody is interested, they can always read. There's nothing wrong is reading, but influencing them with those things and try to make the cocktail of whatever you have learned, that we have to be careful. That is the only reason. So, but today I will do that because I'll be just discussing like a teaching of another master, because it is very, very important that his messages and what his realization is important. And so that's why we will discuss about it today. And but it is just, we'll do it as a reference. We are following a different path. Let me make it very clear. We are not following Buddhism here. We are following our own Kriya Yoga and 6-step meditation path to reach to our goal. So we'll stick to our path. There are many paths, and Paramahansa Ramakrishna Paramahansa, they have said Jatama Tata path. So that means there will be many paths. So today we decided to just discuss about the path of Gautam Buddha, a little bit touch upon. As I said, we cannot discuss it in full detail. But if somebody is interested, so let me know. I can send some reference book, or maybe I can post it also. There is a book. Its name, the good book so far I have come through. It is the Teaching of Buddha. It has been issued by Bukho Dendo Kyokai. That is in Japanese. In Japan, that organization, they have given a PDF version. It is available in the net. It is free, but only thing we have to give the credit to them who have been posted, and so that's what I am also doing that in the beginning. So I will be referring some of the things from that book, and my grateful to that organization who has posted it into this form, this PDF version for knowledge of everybody. So if anybody is interested, so you can go through that. So it's a very good book. So the Teachings of Buddha, that is the name of that book. Okay. All right. So let us now start with. So as I said, meaning of Buddha is the enlightened one. Gautam is the name of the clan who has the. Gautama means one who has most light, and Gautam means it is a descendant of that who has the more light, the Gautam Buddha. So that is the meaning of his name. So in the first part of his life, his name was Siddhartha, and he was a prince. And he was a prince, and the story goes, I think that story all of us we have read in our textbooks in the school and the childhood days, that he was a prince living a luxurious life, and even he got married and very young age, and then he was going in a chariot to roam around that kingdom. And then he saw one the person is could not walk, and with a stick is walking. So he's asking his driver Sarthi that why that man is not walking straight, and what is the issue. He was thinking that he is a king, I mean prince, he can solve anybody's problem, any problem in his kingdom. That is the idea normally. The king and princes who never left the palaces, they do have. So they do never left the palaces. They never seen the life outside the palaces. They think that world is like that. So, and anything can be done by the royal order or something like that. So that is, I think, mind when he is asked about the driver, the chariot driver, that what is the issue, so that he can solve his problem. He said, no, it is in old age, and he could not walk because his body becomes weak and things like that. So then he asked, it happens only to him? He said, no, it can happen to everybody. It will happen to me. Yes, it will happen to you also. You, me, everybody will go through the old age. He got a little bit setback, so he was not expecting this. He was thinking life is like that. He'll enjoy the life, the palace life, and good food, good life, a lot of wealth. Okay, next came and somebody who is with some smallpox, the red spots, and there somebody's carrying them to, I think, Vedshala or clinic. So he's telling what happened to that. He is sick. He's not well. And, what is sickness? What is sick? He said, this illness everybody has to go through some point or other. Well, I also will go through this sickness. Yes, something or other will be may not be same, but something we will also face a lot of sickness during your span of life. Everybody does that. Everybody has to go through that. He got another setback into his idea of life. And the third one, he saw somebody is carrying on 4 people carrying on the shoulder, somebody lying on top of the bed, and they are carrying the bed. What happened to this man? So he died. They're taking him for cremation. So he was, what does that mean? I mean, he left his body. He is no longer alive. He'll not wake up. He said, no, it's not sleeping. He says dead means permanent sleep, gone. So what they're doing? They're going to taking him for cremation. They will, burn them or bury them or something. So then he got completely off his stand. He said, "Turn around. I will go back to palace." And he was very much, thoughtful, upset, and all. And he says, and he that meaning of life, he was searching that what is it, that all those kind of things. That night he left his home in the middle of the night, leaving his wife and one son, I think few months old son, Rahul. Wife, her name is Yashodhara. So he left, and he take 4 vows. So he left with these 4 vows, and they call in Buddhism, they call the 4 great vows, to search the answer for all those things. So he wanted to save all people. That first vow he took, to remove all, to renounce all worldly desires, all whatever luxury, whatever desire he will renounce, and to learn the teachings. He will learn how to overcome all those things, all the sufferings of the people, and then and fourth one is to attain perfect enlightenment. This is the four vows he took before he leave his palace, and then middle of the night he left. And then is the years of meditation, sadhana, and all this. His body started giving up, and there was a lot of stories there, and all those kind of things. He was almost in the verge of roam around many places and all. Finally, in the in Bodh Gaya, that is the place, and below a tree, Bodhi Briksh. So he got enlightened in the full moon day, night rather. And that particular thing we celebrate as Buddha Purnima, the full moon, which symbolizes his enlightenment. And then he got self-realized, enlightened, and then he started teaching. His teaching has been gone different places. So he was approximately 500 years before Jesus Christ. His birth year was 564 BC. So like that. So, and he's just all it started with those four vows he took before he leaving, and that transformed his life. And he finally got those answers. Now, this is his life story of that, and this detail you can read it. I don't have time to go through about the whole life, but this is what has happened. So the fundamental turning point of the question is asking about life. What is the meaning of life? And all our spiritual journey starts with that. Before that, we spend our life in experimenting with different things. In spiritual terms, they call Maya. And different type of things. And we heard about many things, but we think that we are exceptional. We'll be able to do it. We'll make a difference. We'll be the exceptional ones. So in the pursuit of this, whatever we call it a success in life, we pursue many things. And then we, sometime or other, we landed up into asking us this question, the meaning of life. Then when we truly asking desperately, because of many reasons, that can happen, many reasons. I also told many times that 3 areas of life we get this kind of lessons, the triggers, okay? Those 3 areas will be either health oriented or relationship oriented or money oriented. So any one of these 3 areas or combination thereof will get hit by the life. And this particular, that will be our asking our questions. So what is the meaning of life? These 3 things can be on ourselves or our near and dear ones or somebody we know. It doesn't matter. It has to happen to you only. But those are the trigger points that happens when we, by applying everything we know, all the powers we have, still we don't get whatever we want. That is the time. If it had few times or multiple times, then we landed up in asking for the fundamental questions. What is the meaning of life? Why this? First, it start with the poor me syndrome, that why it is happening with me, because our ego cannot tolerate we are failing. So it is very painful for ego to accept that. And our soul, our higher self, who has the best interest, of course, it is considering the best interest, it creates a situation when we fall into this kind of scenarios that we cannot do anything, like just helpless, because that only triggers to go inside. Now, this Gautam Buddha, in his teaching, this particular phase, which is the trigger points, and when this, he has beautifully, explained that part. So, and this part, I just going through that book, and it really, catches my eyes. That let me read that one paragraph from there. It would be very, interesting to know about how Gautam Buddha has approached this particular issue. Okay, the four vows he took, that already I explained. Because it is interesting. And okay, so this what is this part is interesting. So that is, let me read it here. The world is full of suffering. Birth is suffering, old age is suffering, sickness and death are sufferings. To meet a person whom one hates is suffering. To be separated from a beloved one is suffering. To be vainly struggling to satisfy one's need is suffering. In fact, life that is not free from desire and passion is always involved with distress. This is called the truth of suffering. See, Gautam Buddha has mentioned it beautifully. What he has explained, the truth of suffering, it comes from the desires we have. And the desires are the main factor of our suffering. The day we understand this, our spiritual journey starts from there. This is the truth of suffering. So, in that case, suffering, because what is telling that our life experiences, sufferings are needed to have our turning point, to bring our turning point in life, so that we understand that the major reason, the fundamental reason of suffering are the desires. So, like that, he has put many of the his life, lessons, and then he came with some recommendation of the eightfold path of that is his eightfold path. The name it is called, just
अष्टांगिक मार्ग कीजिए.
yes, that's right. It is Ashtangik Marg, and this Ashtangik Marg, and this Ashtang Marg. Okay, Ashtangik Marg and Noble Eightfold Path. That is English I was looking for here. So if you see that they have a symbol called Dharma Chakra, the wheel of Dharma, that is their symbol. You might have seen I have put that symbol as below the title of today's topic. So that is a Dharma Chakra. The wheel has 8 arms and or spikes, and those 8 spikes, they indicate that eightfold path. So now to get out of the sufferings of life, and that Gautam Buddha, he recommended that noble eightfold path. So then that eightfold path is, first is the right. I'm just still looking for, yeah, here it is, wheel of Dharma. So, Eighth Noble Fourth Path of Buddhism is that it refers to the right view, right thought, right speech, right behavior, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditation. So these are the eight path has been recommended by Gautam Buddha to go beyond the life of suffering and go towards that enlightenment. So this particular one, I'm not going into the detail of each and every one, but I think the meaning is clear. So this is the path has been given by Gautam Buddha to do that, to follow the path. Now I will share few of his teachings recommended in this particular book called Dharmapada. That is some of the selected, not all. There are many. So I will go through few of them. And it should be then I will clarify if it is needed. Otherwise, the meaning will be clear. So these are the recommended one is. So it is interesting again what Gautam Buddha said. So it is the first one here. It is saying hatreds never cease by hatreds in this world. By love alone they cease. This is an ancient law. So this is the first one. So I think I don't need to clarify. It is very clear. So so hatred, normally hatred creates more hatred, and that war never ends. Love is the solution. The When we approach with love, only thing all problems in the world will be over. So that Gautam Buddha, he has mentioned it 2,500 years ago. Next one is saying a fool who thinks that he is a fool is for that reason a wise man. If a fool knows that I am a fool, just because he knows he is a fool, he is a wise man. Because he knows the truth. The fool who thinks that he is wise, called fooled indeed. If a fool thinks I am a wise man, then he is indeed a fool. Then the next one, I don't think you need explanation on this. So next one is, though he should conquer 1,000 men in the battlefield 1,000 times, yet he indeed who would conquer himself is the noblest victor. This is very, very important, his teaching. People go to conquer the world. They win over many enemies and thousands of people they kill in the battlefield and all things like a winner. Gautam Buddha's teaching says you conquer only one, which is yourself. If you can win yourself, basically here, the ego, your ego, you can go beyond ego, you realized yourself, then you are the noblest victor. That is the best victory you can ever have on human body. Okay, human life, it will be very important. Nobody will give you any award or Nobel Prize, of course, but that is the goal of the human life. The next one is saying, though he should live 100 years not seeing the truth sublime, yet better indeed is the single day's life of one who sees the truth sublime. A life of 100 years without seeing the truth is basically useless. It is a wasted life. But if you see the truth only one time in your life, that serves the purpose of your life. That's what this means. Next says, hard is birth as man. Hard is the life of mortals. Hard is the hearing of sublime truth. Hard is the appearance of a Buddha. Okay, I think I need to explain this. I will read it once again, then I will explain. Okay. The hard is birth as man. As a man, it is difficult to take birth as a human being. Hard is the life of mortals. One day we have to die, and life is full of hardness and a lot of things, struggles we have to go through. So all our mortals, our life is hard, hard to live. Hard is the hearing of sublime truth, even to the ultimate truth, the universal truth. Even to hearing that is hard. You don't get the truth. It's very difficult to get it. Who will tell you the truth? Even if somebody tell you the truth, you will not accept it. That's a different issue. But to get the truth is different. There are millions of versions available, not the truth. Because I think many times I mentioned the truth is which is your direct downloaded experience of the divinity. That is the truth. That is called Brahma Gyan. So it has to be directly downloaded firsthand. That is your truth. But here, Gautam Buddha is telling it is hard is hearing of sublime truth. It is difficult to get the truth. And hard is the appearance of a Buddha. This is very, very important. Hard is the appearance of a Buddha. Means from your this life, which is hard in every step, as a birth, as a mortal, and the leading the life and getting into the truth is everything hard. So from that to Buddha to come out, to get enlightened is hard. But of course, it is once in a lifetime is worth to go through that hardship. That's what it means. Next one, not to do any evil, to cultivate good, to purify one's mind. This advice of the Buddhas. So that is, I think it is simple, the not to do any evil, and to cultivate good and purify one's mind. And this is the advice of the Buddha. So if you want to attain your Buddhahood, Buddhatva, then this is the way, not to do any evil. I already explained the Noble Eightfold Path, that the right view and all this. So that is the way to go there. There are no sons for protection, neither father nor even kinsman. For him who is overcome by death, no protection is there from kinsmen. This particular thing is who has who has overcome by death means the fear of death, basically. Who has overcome the fear of death, he does not need any protection from anyone. So he just liberated from all these kind of worldly protections. So he has overcome the fear of death. And of course that hints to Buddhatva or the enlightenment, who doesn't have the fear of death. Because if somebody doesn't have a fear of death, you cannot do anything. You cannot make that person fearful to do something or subjugate under you to under this kind of under anyone. So that is the way. So these are the some of the his teachings. And now I think there's not much time left, so I will conclude the learning session here. And now the floor is open for any questions you may have on this topic. Anybody, any question? Okay, there is no question. Okay, yes, Nimu, go ahead. Yeah, your question. Please unmute yourself.
Um, so, I mean, Buddha himself, being a prince, he never really suffered.
Mhm.
The people's, the all the people suffered through. He left mostly a protected life, right?
In the beginning, in the first half of his life. Yes.
Till, but till the point he grew up and saw those events on the street. Till that
Yeah.
point, he never suffered that as a regular sufferings that no common people suffers.
Hmm.
So he's what he observes is not his real. So I'm just trying to understand how he thinks that there are sufferings in life. That is his first very main thing, right, in his teaching, and how to get over it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The teaching came after he got enlightened. After that years he spent on the forest and all this
Right.
self-imposed restrictions, no food and all this kind of things. So no, those are
But
the
those are not inevitable suffering, right? He took that path, right, to find that there is something.
yeah, find the answer because his approach, to my understanding, his approach is he was thinking by royal power he can solve any problem in the world. That was the
Mhm.
perception he was having when he's sitting inside the palace. Yeah. So when he saw something, he wanted to basically give some solution, like royal order to solve the problem. But in these three cases, he realized his royal power is useless. He cannot have that, issue a order to solve this problem. That was his turning point. What are these sufferings which is beyond even a king cannot solve? Previously, the approach was egoistic. His ego got terribly
Yeah.
hurt. He was thinking that I'm the king. I mean, the prince. I have all the power. And when he met with something, forget about the incidents, but met with something which is beyond the royal power, then he asked that inquiry. Sense of inquiry has raised within him. What are those things? Why people suffer? And that's why he took four vows. Even he living that the palace, that four vows to save all people, to renounce the worldly desires. Unless until I get all the answers, I will not enjoy my protected life or a luxurious life. And to learn why these are happening, the truth. That's what he went out, and to attain the perfect enlightenment, to get the full understanding and realization of that. So that is the four vows he took. Yeah, that is correct.
Got it. Yeah. I think that's a good point that it's not his personal suffering, but his personal ego got hurt that he could
Correct.
not solve these situations.
Yeah, that's
Got
correct.
it.
He
That's a
himself
very good.
didn't suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. God bless you. Chaitali, go ahead.
Guruji, so how we can liberate ourselves from these sufferings?
We can liberate ourselves from the uh, suffering with first you have to detach ourselves from, see, suffering is the painful experience we play in our mind. Okay, something might have happened, some which is beyond our control. So it can happen, we have no control over it because it is outside us. So but suffering means we keep playing those things in our mind again and again and again, and that's why we suffer. The maybe incident happened maybe say 15 minutes, but we play that 15 days, if not 15 months, again and again and again, the negative experiences we play in your mind. And that is the reason, that is what we can learn what is external to ourselves, the initial event, that we cannot control because it is outside us. But we can change ourselves. You can learn how not to get suffered, because the replay in our mind we can stop happening through our spiritual practices, to to bring ego our control and raise our vibration. There are many techniques what you learned. Those techniques can be used, not that suffering to happen. And there are different levels. So in the higher level, the detachment comes in full surrender. When we surrender ourselves, we don't claim that it is our problem. Then we don't suffer. Unless until we claim the problem is ours, then this things will not happen. So that is, we don't get affected. It will be still there. Externally, nothing will change. But our suffering, we can overcome by learning this. And that is the teaching is all about. His teaching is Majjhim Pantha. That is no happiness, no sadness. You be in the middle. That's the Gautam Buddha's teaching. Don't claim any one of this. Don't claim all this happiness. Don't claim all the sadness also. If you're in the middle, you will be going perfectly all right. So that is his teaching. But the way to go there is detachment. That will only come through practices. It cannot come by understanding and that spiritual, intellectual knowledge. It is only by practice it can come. So we can get detached from it. Okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay.